Texas DPS currently investigating a violent car crash that happened in Kennedy County and left one man dead at the scene. It happened Sunday around 3 p.m. just 14 miles south of the checkpoint on US 77. Officials say the driver of a Jetta was traveling north when they veered off the roadway, drove through a fence and sideswiped a tree before striking a second tree head on. The car burst into flames after a large brush was ignited from the crash. 58-year-old Jose Rojas was pronounced dead at the scene by the Justice of the Peace. This remains an ongoing investigation.